Okay guys, look at all these wheels here. These are all the throwaways nobody wanted, 16.5s. Took me a while to round these up, and they're actually starting to become really hard to find now. People are throwing them away. I don't suggest doing that. I found all these and I had them sandblasted and I primed them and they're ready to be painted. Just whenever I get around to it. But what I wanted to show you guys, I won't say this is my last and final DJM video, but I will say that it is the second part to the DJM video. And we're talking about factory spindles. Now what we have here is on the left, you have a big kingpin spindle off of a 72 F250 that had the 8,500 gross vehicle weight. And as you can see, it's pretty close to the, I found this one, I recommend stockpiling parts. I found this as new old stock on eBay, and I think I paid only like 75 bucks for it at the time. It's brand new, never even been used. It had this little thing over the spindle. I was able to find one brand new, and I found one used, but I'm sure if I take my time, I'll find another new one. But you can see the major differences in there. Now, the reason why I'm showing you these is for the purpose of lowering your 250 using DJM lowering beams, or if you were going to use John Rod's lowering beams. From what I understand, John Rod only makes them from an F100 or F150, just like DJM. They don't make them for this one on the left. Got my mic gauge, go to 0. This one should read about 84 or so, let me see, 1 1/16 or so, somewhere around there. 105. Now this is rough, I'm just showing you rough. I'm not going to take it out. But you can see the major differences between these two kingpins. This is the one that was on my 69 F250 camper special. Surprisingly, when I took the dust cover off, I seen this little tiny kingpin, and I was very surprised, being that my truck is a camper special. See, it should read 85. That's a 7/8 or so size kingpin. And this one reads 105. This is the 1 1/16. So you can see there is some differences. The arm is a lot heavier duty on this one compared to the one on the camper special. And the other differences is the tie rod end mounts from the bottom up on the light duty 250. Even though this is a camper special, I will call this a light duty F250. It mounts from the bottom up. You notice the taper is from the top down on the heavy duty F250. There's only one company that makes a lowering beam with this big hole for this. It's Air Baggett. And you're kind of rolling the dice with them. They come out good sometimes. They come out bad other times. They're handmade. Of course, they make them in a jig, but they don't always come out perfect. So using the DJM beams, if you have this size kingpin, which is the same size as an F100, see the little tiny hole there, compared to that big old huge one there. You can lower your 250 if you have this size kingpin using an F100 lowering beam from anyone, DJM, Air Baggett, or John Rod's. Okay, it will work. Okay, now the other thing I'm going to say really quick, because I don't want to make this video very long. When it comes time to doing a disc brake swap, if you have this kind of spindle, you see how the mounting is identical? This truck here had, because it's heavy duty, it was off of a 72 F250, it had disc brakes. This one here, the same brand new one like my truck, I had drum brakes. But you see the bolt patterns are exactly the same. Okay guys, here she is. I wouldn't say the last final DJM video, but it is a supplemental to my previous video where I had it in my backyard with the red wheels and we did a crawl around. There are a few things that I want to mention on this video. First of all, I want to thank all the new subscribers that liked and subscribed my videos. I appreciate it very much. It's just my contribution to the YouTube community. Thanking the people that have helped me. I mean, you can... So anyway, here's how she sits. Now, when I first sought out to do the video today, I thought I was going to have to mention how the front end was going to be higher than the rear, because it was earlier, but I guess the settling of the springs brought it down, and as you can see, it's actually pretty level. I mean, for a minute there, it looked like the front was slightly higher, and what I have to mention is I went with the 6-inch flip in the rear. I didn't use the DJM hangers that they have. The DJM hangers would make the rear higher, maybe slightly, I don't know, 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch or so. But it's a Dana 60 axle tube, so I got 6 inches in the rear, and then I have the 3-inch DJM beams in the front, and I ended up putting my stock coil springs back in. In the first video, I had a C20 coil spring with a 0.84 thickness of the wire diameter. It didn't really ride well. I did do a test drive with it like that. It didn't ride well because those springs were so heavy that they were made more like for a 454, a really big heavy motor. So it had a lot of, it didn't ride well. So now with the stock springs back in it, I ended up cutting like maybe a 1/2 coil off to level the front out, because I had the flip in the rear was lower than the front. If I would have left the stock springs in it, if you can see where the letters say Firestone, they're just perfectly even with the fender lip right there, the flat part of the fender. The actual front end would be higher and you would see the whole tire. So that's the difference. It's a difference of like maybe an inch, I think, or 3/4 of an inch. Right now, it's a 3 3/4 inch drop in the front, and it's a 6-inch drop in the back. So it looks like it leveled it out perfectly level. At times it does look like the front is slightly higher, but then the way that they cut the fenders is you can see the front fender is higher than the rear. The opening, it's about an inch higher than the rear. So sometimes your eyes can play tricks on you, you know. So anyway, it balanced out. The only other thing is that I have to mention is it rides just like a 69 Ford, you know. There's really no way you're going to improve on that. I put a front sway bar, and I did notice a big difference on that. I put the Adco front sway bar, thanks to YouTube and other members. I think it was F100 World, something like that, or Traeger Company Classics. So I put that on there. Very easy to put on. Let me see, did I show that? It's very easy to put on. Let me get dirty here. Yeah, see, you have these existing holes already. You have one of them. I think it's this one right here. It's already drilled in pre-existing. So really all you have to do is just, I watched a video, it was all technical to where they were measuring this back and forth and doing this. And it actually looked very complicated on the video. And I was thinking, man, am I going to be able to do that? And then when I got under here and I looked, I seen this one hole, which they all should have this pilot hole for whatever it's used for. And I just put the little bracket for the beam bar on there, and then I just drilled a hole in the back one and did that on both sides, and the bar lined up perfectly, as you can see. So it was a little tricky on this side getting the hole in the DJM beam, because you have to get back there behind the radius arm and stuff, but I was able to do it. I basically just drilled a hole through it and put a bolt. I would like to weld that lower bracket on later on instead of just having it bolted, you know, but it perfectly aligned so easily. That's a thick bar. I think it's like 7/8, might even be 1 inch. But I noticed a major difference with that bar on there. But other than that, it still rides like a 69 Ford. And there's really nothing you can do about that. I mean, it's a 53-and-a-half-year-old truck as we speak, and it's going down the road in 2023, so I really can't complain, you know. Yeah, I got under here. Yeah, I crawled under here. Yeah, you see this bracket? This is the one where the you put your axle on top of the springs now, right? So it comes with this bracket. What a lot of guys do is they cut this perch off and they put it underneath and weld it. Well, you got to make sure that you know how to do your pinion angle before you weld that sucker, and that you're a good welder, because if you don't do it right, you're going to be screwed. So what I did is I put these little tongues like fit underneath your existing perch, and that's what holds your axle in place. Well, my pinion angle, I needed to rotate the axle forward, and it left a gap right here. See where it's welded right here? It left a gap. So what happened was when I just tightening up the U-bolts alone and not welding this bracket to the axle housing, when I accelerated and floored it, the axle rotated backwards. And you probably can't see it now, but that's why I put those parking brake things up there, because it started chewing into my parking brake. And if you see those little lines on the drive line, those were actually touching that cross member right there. That's how much the pinion angle rotated on me. So I had to shut the truck down again, and I had a guy come out and he welded this for me, because I'm not a good welder. And I had my pinion angle set with the U-bolts off, and he came and only charged me $150. I knew him from a guy that put my sprinkler system in. So it's always good to find a guy who knows how to do different things for you. And he welded on both sides, all up in here. He welded a couple tacks up in here, and he did that on front and back. And now, on the other side as well, I don't think it's ever going to spin on me anymore, but it's very important to make sure that it's secure, because the first hard acceleration that I did, the axle rotated forward on me. And the funny thing is, I didn't even know it. I figured that I would feel the vibration. In the truck, but I didn't. It's crazy, because the axle was pointed so high up, but I thought for sure that I would feel the vibration on that. But anyway, it did give me a little bit of negative camber, which is kind of a bummer, but it's so little. I don't think I'm going to lose sleep over it at night, you know, but you can see it if you really look. It's more noticeable with the fat tires in the front. If you put skinnier tires, it's less noticeable, but it does have a little bit, few degrees, and it seems like this side has more than the other. Whether that's how the beams were made or not, I don't know. But just giving you a heads up. I mean, it rides fairly well. You know, it was a do-it-yourself job, bolt-on beams. It's not a QA1, you know, complete independent front end. But the reason why, as somebody asked me, why did you decide to go with lowering beams instead of doing a Crown Vic front end? You know what? To each his own. If you have like 5 friends in a weekend with a case of beer, I'm sure that you can go down to the junkyard and find a Crown Vic or a Mercury Marquis and rip the whole front end apart, slap it together. Sure, you know. I never really see a lot of those videos where people are saying that they love their Crown Vic. I mean, I'm not just saying that because I didn't do it, but you're talking about putting another suspension on a truck that it wasn't made for, you know. So the decision why I made to do it like this is so that I can save money and do it myself. That's why I did it. I didn't want to take my engine out that is just previously rebuilt with transmission, tear the whole front clip off and do all that just on weekends and work on the truck for a year, putting a Crown Vic on it, doing it myself. You know, buying all the parts and stuff. It's not like a good little $1,200 job. By the time you're done, you're in at a couple $1,000s. You got to buy new wheels, buy new tires. You know, everything's different now. So you're going to be in at a few grand, you know, $2,000 or $3,000. It looks great on videos and stuff and all that, but You know, I just wanted to have something that was pretty much original to the truck. A flip kit is not hard to do. You don't need brackets. You could, if you know how to cut with a flap disc, you can relocate your spring perch and re-weld it. Have somebody else weld it if you don't know how to, like I did. Let me see if I can get a front shot of that so you can see how much. I mean, it does have a little bit. I would say maybe a couple of degrees on each side. Nothing really crazy. But you can definitely see it on the right side more than the left side. And I know I need an alignment. But anyway, yeah, so there she sits. The ride's good. I just wanted to note those things down, you know, make sure you weld your rear axle in if you use a flip kit with the bracket. And if you decide to go with the DJM, the most important thing that I can say is this. When I first made this video today, I thought for sure I was going to have to tell you how the front end was higher, but I guess the springs kind of balance themselves out and it looks pretty level. It actually looks like the front end is a little bit lower. And that might be the case. The springs might keep settling on me, but the Moog 8228 is the exact stock replacement spring for this truck. So what I would end up doing is putting one size smaller tire in the front. So if I went with my stock springs, I would definitely do that. If you're running radials, like 16-inch radials, that's another option for you, and you wouldn't notice that the front end is higher once you put the one size smaller tire in the front. So that is a solution for using the DJM beams with the flip kit in the rear. That is probably the main thing about this whole video that I was going to say. If you decide to go the route that I did and use the DJM beams for the front, and you decided to do your own flip kit in the rear, all you really have to do, of course, is to just relocate your spring perch to the bottom and then weld it once you got your pinion angle set. Pretty simple. You wouldn't have to buy a bracket for your rear end or anything. If you don't know how to weld, just do like I did and call up the gardener's friend. You know, he'll come out. Well, he was a certified welder, so he was certified, and he did a better job I'll ever do. So $150 is all he charged me to do it. She runs 80 miles an hour down the freeway, hit all kinds of bumps. I've never bottomed out. I've never hit the bump stop on it. Never felt the beam hitting the cross member or anything. So like I said, it's about a 3 3/4 drop in the front, and it's a 6-inch flip in the rear, solid 6, and then 3 3/4 in the front. Okay guys, that's it. The 69 Ford F-250 with the 3-inch DJM beams in the front. Cut about a half a coil off using an 1/8 to a 1/4 at a time, and I took the springs out like 5 or 6 times. I wouldn't want to go any lower than what it is. The rear is a 6-inch flip with that bracket that holds your existing spring perch in place. Shortened my drive line. It's now a one-piece drive line. It's right at the limit. I think it was 59 and 5/8 inches long, 3-inch tube. The guy told me I can go about to 61 inches, but it's a 3-inch tube. I'm using the Big Yokes 1330 front and rear. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for all the new subscribers. I really appreciate it. I hope this helps somebody get an idea of what it looks like. There are a lot of videos that I posted about the gear vendor and about my first drive with this vehicle, and it shows what it rides like. So hope you liked the video. Appreciate it. Thanks.